it ironic that my show about trains is never on time? Hello and welcome to my monthly show about the railway, which, starting this month, I'm actually going to try and start making every month. Uploading this 3 days late is not a good start then. Hello and welcome to Train News. Since this is the first episode in a while due to GCSE exams, we have quite a lot to catch up on. First off, let's talk about South West Trains. In a surprise mid-franchise deal, Stagecoach have sold off the franchise to First and MTR, who will radically overhaul the franchise and rename it South Western Railway from August 2017. Like Greater Anglia, South Western Railway will experience a mass fleet extinction event, where pretty much the entire fleet will be replaced. Class 444 and 450 third rail Desiros will stay, and Class 442s recently made redundant on Gatwick Express will return to the South West to serve the Portsmouth line. Class 158 and 159s on the West of England line will remain in service as well. That means the Class 455, 456 and the Frankensteinian 458s will be replaced. It also means that the Class 707, yet to enter service, will also be withdrawn. Wait, what? New build Aventras units from Bombardier will replenish the fleet numbers. Whilst the 455 and 456 fleets will probably be permanently withdrawn and possibly scrapped, the 458s and the 707s are still perfectly usable and have now been displaced. They will join a concerningly quickly growing list of homeless trains, alongside most of the Greater Anglia fleet and the Class 323s, which are now being dropped by both Northern and London Midland, amongst many others. So here is a list of trains that need a home. Alliance Rail Holdings will not give up on their quest to create a new open access network. One of their proposals is Great Southern Railway, which would also operate Class 442s on the South Western Main Line to Bournemouth and Weymouth. Most of their previous proposals to run East and West Coast Main Line open access operators have been shot down by the ORR. However, in May 2016 they were given access rights to run London Euston to Blackpool services. Sort of. Because London Euston is about to be rebuilt, they were hesitant to give them access to London Euston, so technically they only have the rights to run between Blackpool North and Queen's Park. Nevertheless, they are pressing ahead with plans to operate from 2018, though they were originally planning to buy new Pendolino trains from Alstom. It now looks as though they will use Intercity 225 sets, that's Class 91 locomotives and Mark IV carriages, made redundant on the East Coast by the arrival of Azumas. Because these don't tilt, they will be limited to 110 miles per hour. Virgin are also competing to operate extra paths between London Euston and Blackpool North using Pendolino trains once the line is electrified in 2018. The world of open access moves slowly. Though approved in May 2016, First Group's new fast trains between London and Edinburgh won't start until 2021. Speaking of stubborn companies, let's recap on Viva Rail. Although one of their test trains did catch fire, they are pressing ahead with their plans to convert ex-London Underground D78 stock trains into new diesel trains and possibly battery trains as well that operators can use. These are to be designated the Class 230. Potential customers include London Midland for the Leamington, Coventry and Nuneaton line, Southern for the Metrolink line, which is Brighton to Ashford via Eastbourne, and Arriva Trains Wales for the Valley lines. New stations at Cambridge North, Ilkeston and Low Moor have opened. Also on the 31st of March, should have talked about this last episode but never mind, the Settle and Carlisle Railway finally reopened after an over a year-long closure following repairs to the line having to be made after a landslip, which closed the line in February 2016. Class 345 Aventras units have entered service on the TfL rail route between Liverpool Street Terminus and Shenfield. The tunnel section between Liverpool Street and Paddington will open in December 2018. Some of the 345 units are also around the National Rail network. They're being built in Derby, and Duncan and I spotted one in Crewe whilst on the train spotting tour. Here it is. Well, aren't we lucky today? It's a class 345.
How's it called?
Well, to be honest, it's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brunham on, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
The Manchester Metrolink have recently celebrated their 25th birthday, marking 25 years since Metrolink took over operation of the Victoria to Bury line on the 6th of April 1992, although the road running section through Manchester city centre didn't open until a few months later. The Great Western electrification scheme, running years late and many £billion over budget, has finally reached Maidenhead. Class 387s on the service from Paddington can now extend to Maidenhead, although electrification itself actually continues all the way to Didcot. Electric passenger services through Reading and onto Didcot will not begin until this December. The Class 121 bubble cars operating the Princes Risborough to Aylesbury shuttle have now been withdrawn from Chiltern services. Bi-mode Class 88 locomotives have now entered service with direct rail services. Shouldn't TransPennine be using 88s instead of 86s? On the 23rd of April, a very unique event took place on the East Coast Main Line called 4 Trains, which involved the Flying Scotsman, an Intercity 125 set, an Intercity 225 set, and an Azuma train, which ran side by side along the East Coast Main Line into York Station, with many attending. The most frequent railway in Britain is the Victoria line in London, which has now been increased to 36 trains per hour during peak times. That's more than every 2 minutes. The Scottish Government have brought forward plans to operate a Far North sleeper which will link Thurso and Wick in the very north of Scotland to Edinburgh. Transport for Greater Manchester have put forward proposals to take over operation of 96 railway stations in Greater Manchester from Northern and other companies. Not included in this plan is Piccadilly. Virgin Stagecoach and SNCF have joined up to bid for the new West Coast Mainline franchise due to start in 2019, which will include operations over Phase 1 of HS2 from 2026. Proposals have been put forward to open a new heritage railway in South Manchester. This would run over the disused railway line between Caddishead Viaduct and Timperley. Manchester Victoria was closed to trams and trains for a few weeks last month following the tragic terrorist attack at the Manchester Arena on the 22nd of May. Services resumed on the 30th of May, though the arena remains closed. 22 people died in the bombing. There were also plans for the RMT to strike on the 30th of May, although these were later cancelled, and there were no strikes for over a month. Finally, a return to normality. Not. The latest announcement this week is that striking will take place not just for 1 but 3 days on Saturday 8th, Sunday 9th and Monday the 10th of July. So no matter whether you are a leisure traveller or a commuter, nobody misses out on the chaos and misery. Thanks RMT. I'm not sponsored, but I would like to shout out Modern Railways, which is where I get most of my information from. It is a fantastic monthly magazine which basically tells you all about the latest news on the railway. Check it out in the link in the description below. It's a monthly magazine, and by that I mean actually monthly, not pretend monthly. Speaking of which, as I said, this is now going to be monthly, asterisk, probably. The next episode will be in mid-August, along with a bonus rant about the mess that is the National Rail ticketing system. I've also included a bonus video along this video, which will be posted about an hour later, recapping some of the changes to trains and services across Northern and TransPennine Express, just over a year after the new franchises started. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hello and welcome to Train News, where in the spirit of the railway, we are a week late. I've got exams in less than a month, leave me alone.
So, what's the naughtiest thing you've ever done?
Oh, goodness me.